We went from like Arctic spring to July, August.
Yes.
Even though it's not July, August at all.
Nope.
But Miss Nikki,
Yes.
I don't know if you noticed on the way to the work the other day. I was
Okay.
driving past and there was these giant legs sticking out from our building.
You know what? I thought I noticed something.
I mean, very fashionable, black and
Yes.
white stripe
Mhm.
with a red shoe.
Wait, those aren't always there?
I don't think they are.
What are those about again, Miss Jen?
So as far as I can tell, from what I remember, we had this amazing arrival. We're not in Kansas, we're not in Gale Borden anymore. We are in the land
Wizard
of
of Oz.
Oz. That's right. Right here at Gale Borden. So I think our library was transported and we landed on the Wicked Witch.
Oh, and how were they transported, Miss Jen?
I'm so glad you asked me. It happens that it was a tornado.
A tornado. You know what? I've heard of those.
I know, me too. And if you enjoy, I know we have a lot of friends that come visit
Yes.
that like nonfiction books,
This is true.
that attend our STEAM programs,
Mhm.
and they like extreme weather. We did one on that.
We sure
We had-
did.
and one of the extreme weather events is tornadoes.
That's right.
So we're going to talk today a little bit about tornadoes. We
Yep.
thought it tied in really well to this time of year because
Yes.
spring is definitely the kickoff of tornado season, if you will.
Also, summer reading. Don't forget to sign up starting May 16th all the way through August 6th.
That's right. And we have our wonderful Wizard of Oz exhibit.
We do. So it all ties together.
It really does. So a couple things about before we start our experiments.
Yes.
So tornadoes, we see them in the spring,
Yeah.
summer, and fall mainly,
Yes.
and there is a reason for that. You need definite weather patterns
Okay.
to create a tornado. Are you familiar with some of the patterns, Miss Nikki?
I am now, just so I understand, can a tornado happen anywhere? Can it happen in any state or any place?
I mean, it has, and I think as our climate is changing too, we're
Mhm.
seeing them maybe in places we hadn't as much.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I definitely there's certain conditions. Like
Yes.
the Arctic, probably never going to get a tornado,
Probably
and we can
not many of
explain
those.
why. But
Yes.
anybody who has seasons has variations in the weather, from hot to cold.
Yes,
Yeah, you
extreme
definitely have the
variations.
potential for that.
Yes.
Absolutely. So the reasons I think spring and fall especially we see it is because we're changing seasons and we're going from a colder to a warmer or a warmer to a colder.
You're absolutely right. So the chances of you seeing a tornado in the winter or in the very dead heat of summer, not so much because there's not a lot of fluctuation of temperatures.
Right.
It's either very hot or very cold.
Exactly, and that kind of gets us to the heart of what forms and causes tornadoes to form. It's differentials in differences in temperature.
And just to remind me, because I remember that hurricanes, another disaster,
Yes.
extreme weather,
Right.
those really happen more in the water, like they come
Yes.
onto land. But tornadoes are sort of those funnels, right?
Yes,
Jen?
a funnel cloud
Yeah,
that usually is very visible because of debris that it picks up while it's going.
gotcha.
But yes, it looks like a funnel, like you'd use in your kitchen. We use them
Okay.
for steam sometimes.
Yeah.
So it's faced bigger at the top, smaller at the bottom,
Yes.
and you'll see them in the sky. So
And isn't it true? I mean, I could be wrong. I mean, not often, but sometimes.
it happens once in a while
It does.
for both of us.
Is it true? I mean, I heard they had an eye. Do they have eyeballs? Are they watching us? What's going on with that?
Right? It's so interesting. Both hurricanes and tornadoes have one spot that really isn't moving or isn't as affected because we're talking extreme again, right?
Right.
So high winds,
Okay.
tons of rain, especially with the hurricane. They're picking up the water from the oceans and stuff.
Yes.
But at the center, these are both with rotation.
Yep.
Not even just doing it without thinking. And so at the center of that, like the spout of your funnel,
Mm-hmm.
there's really nothing. It's very quiet so they'll say there's an expression, the eye of the hurricane, very quiet and still with everything going crazy around you.
Interesting. So if you were to stand in the eye, it might seem kind of calm, but
Right.
everything around
You'd
you
see
might
a
be
lot.
swirling
Yes,
around.
depending how big it is too, because
Wow.
tornadoes can be all different sizes.
That is really cool. And I know, Miss Jen, when you walk into Gale Borden Library, there is a giant simulated, so not real,
Right,
simulated
pretend.
means pretend,
Exactly.
tornado.
Yes, there's part of our display where you can see it forming and how it rotates like that.
So, I mean, we can do that, right?
We're going to try to do something like it. And it is important, Ms. Nikki mentioned, can we see tornadoes anywhere? In the United States, there is a specific area of our country, more in the central part of the country, the Midwest.
Right.
And I think one of the reasons that happens is the weather conditions, but also very flat land. You don't usually see tornadoes in the mountains again.
That makes sense.
They want to be like they need an area to kind of skip
Yes.
over and have the different formation form. So in the center of the U.S., there are 7 states that make up Tornado Alley, they call it.
Oh, not Diagon Alley like in Harry Potter.
No, not Diagon Alley, and we are not one of them, I'm happy to say. So if you're not a fan of tornadoes and you don't want to be an extreme weather watcher chaser,
Be glad you live.
yeah,
in
this is the
Illinois.
place to live. But if you wanted to, and some of them are our neighbors, Iowa,
Okay,
Kansas,
yep.
Minnesota.
Where Dorothy came from.
Yes, exactly. Kansas, Minnesota,
Okay,
Nebraska,
interesting.
North Dakota, Oklahoma,
Oh,
South Dakota, and Texas. So a lot of that like Central Plains and
Yes.
heading south up and north in the Central Plains area.
Interesting, and I wonder how many tornadoes Tornado Alley typically gets in
I
any
don't
given
know.
season.
I think they said that in the US, what was it? I'll have to double check that for you, because I know there's quite a few in the entire country,
Yes.
Through the course of tornado season.
Sometimes I know in a single bad day, you can have several dozen of
In one-
tornadoes in
yes.
an area.
Yes, so like a
Mini
superstorm,
small ones,
or-
yes.
and it'll form, I think recently, maybe a month or so or two ago in the south, there was maybe 8 storms like that. I believe it was
Yes.
Tennessee, so that happens.
Yes,
Sometimes.
and sometimes I believe the tornado can touch down,
Yes.
or sometimes it might not be fully formed where it doesn't actually touch the ground.
That's true, and of course, if it doesn't hit the ground, not as destructive, not as dangerous, fascinating, scary, super high winds, but it's when it hits the ground where we live, where we have trees, plants, people, buildings, cars, etc., that we run into trouble.
So is that the difference that when we're watching for a tornado, such as something called a tornado watch, maybe the weather conditions are right, things could be happening,
Ex-
versus a tornado warning,
Exactly.
when somebody has actually seen a tornado touch down?
Exactly, and that's,
Okay.
I think over time, meteorologists, which are people that study the weather and get a degree in weather, have learned, and with computer modeling trends, they'll see a rotation, not a tornado, but they'll see the conditions are right, they might start to see some rotation, and they know that perhaps, possibly, we need to keep an eye out, which is the watch, we're gonna be watchful and keep an eye, that a tornado could form.
Okay,
When we get a warning, then we know it's been spotted in the geographic area. And if you have a cell phone or your grown-ups have one and you hear that, and it's going off, we know that there's been some type of weather event. In
right.
the spring, it could be a warning.
And just a way to help you be informed and to kind of know what safety
Just to keep an eye out. And just because it says a warning, it could be 10 miles from you. It could be
That's
30
right.
miles from you. It just means somewhere in the general area where you live, not immediate,
Right.
but it's something that you need to be careful of.
Exactly, and there's lots of safety tips that we can give that will help keep you safe no matter what.
Right. So, we're talking about rotations.
Okay,
Now-
rotation. So rotation is spinning.
Exactly. Oh, be careful, Miss Nikki. Oh my goodness.
I'm okay.
We don't want any injuries in this
Yes.
top secret Gale Board lab.
No, of course not.
So we're gonna try, our first thing we wanna show, we've got 2-liter bottles, which I love, very basic ingredients. Let's talk about that.
Okay.
If you drink your 2 liters of water, soda, whatever, keep the bottles. You probably want 2.
Yes.
You need 2. We're gonna maybe use a little dish soap. Got a little food coloring, and then to simulate dirt, it wouldn't be Kid Space if we didn't have glitter. We love glitter. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do with this one is just pour it out.
Okay.
And so we'll see how it pours out. And
We're gonna
I'm gonna
see.
try not to do too tall,
Do
but
you have any tornado rotation?
yeah, any kind of rotation.
I hear.
I hear a glug glug.
Glug,
I see
glug.
bubbles.
Yep. Your hand's shaking a little.
A little,
It's a weight.
Yes.
And it seems like it's coming in spurts.
Yes. It reminds me of our heart simulation.
You're absolutely right.
When we said don't go breaking my heart, right? So what I think is happening there, so we had some air in the bottle to start, right? Just like this one, we had air and water. And as we're pouring out, the air is forcing some of the water out and then air is going back in. And so it's slowly making its way. So it's almost like squeezing it and forcing it out.
And it sounds like that's that sound that we're hearing.
Yes.
The air passing through the tube.
The bubbles, like the
Yes.
exactly.
Gotcha. But didn't really simulate a tornado, Miss Jen.
No,
I hate to
but
break it.
it was interesting because I thought even with just like a third of the 2-liter filled up, it took a little while to empty that. It wasn't
sure
very
did.
quick. So
And it's interesting because the top really reminds me of a funnel.
yes, if we turn it upside down, it looks
Yes.
funnel-like. Do you want to try to rotate it, Miss Nikki, and let's see what happens?
Okay, so what should I do, Miss Jen?
Well, we want to rotate, right? So we want to try to get some motion going,
Some
and then we're
motion.
gonna flip it over.
Okay, so I'm gonna start.
Maybe kind of spin, yeah,
Spin
exactly.
it.
And then flip it, and we'll see what happens.
All right, my witch's cauldron.
All right.
I don't think so.
It wasn't super, yeah.
Should we try again?
We can try one more time.
Maybe I need to go faster?
I mean, I can see it there.
Let's see. Go faster. see a tornado in there?
We do see the funnel, like this rotation in there.
Yeah. I think the liquid has to keep moving.
Yes, it's very tricky.
And
At first, you hear it at first,
Yes.
it's a little bit smoother.
okay.
So when we get the centrifugal force, it's forcing, that funnel is pulling it tight
Yes.
and just letting it right out.
Towards that center.
Exactly,
Yes.
to the eye.
Yeah.
If we had the storm, it would be the eye.
Yes.
So, and then it
Or-
comes out quicker.
The hole in the bottom.
In this
The-
case, yes.
yes.
Because as Miss Nikki said, if we flip it, looks very funnel-like.
Yes.
You've got the bigger and then the thin.
Okay, so we're basically still in tornado watch territory right now, right? I mean,
Yes.
we got some conditions.
Yes.
We've got some rotation.
Yes, a little bit,
But
yes.
we're
Wasn't
not
quite
here
there.
at a warning.
No.
Nope.
So we've got another thing we want to show everyone,
Okay.
a cool, really little, cool invention.
Okay.
So just give us a minute and we'll get set up and we will try to simulate
We
an actual
gotta-
tornado.
We gotta get our conditions a little bit more right for a tornado.
That's right, so that's what's next.
Right. That's for a tornado.
Oh, and spin out of the
Spin
fan
out.
there.
Whew, it's windy out there, Miss Jen.
Oh my gosh, Miss Nikki, you should see sometimes when I'm out there, the girls, I feel like cousin it. Like,
Oh
I
my
just can't see a
goodness.
thing.
I'm definitely starting to feel those forces you were talking about.
Yeah, so if we had that today's a perfect example, guys, because I think cold weather's supposed to cooler weather soon.
Yes.
So the hotter will rise.
Yes.
In the clouds, up in the sky, it's cooler. You have the cold, it'll
Okay.
cause rain. That's
Yeah.
how rain and precipitation starts. But also then it kind of starts causing everything to move and you're getting the air currents. They
Yes.
start moving. Usually it's horizontal first, meaning this way.
Mm-hmm.
But then eventually, and that's why it's
Yes.
rare, but it happens.
Yep.
They will drop down. It kind of starts this and then it angles and
Yes,
the sky might
depending on
look a
how
little.
windy it might be.
Yes, and we've all, Miss Nikki and I were talking, you get kind of a weird look to the sky a little bit.
Yeah, it's kind of a yellowy sky in one direction.
Yellowy, green, purple, like
Yes.
it's definitely distinctive.
Yes.
And then it'll go vertical,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll see that rotation of the clouds, and you might see the funnel then.
And you know, is it true that there's actually tornado hunters?
I've heard of that, like storm chasers.
Chasers.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
tornado
think-
hunters or chasers.
No, I wouldn't recommend doing that. I don't think it's very safe.
No, not at all. As a matter of fact, if you ever heard the warning like we talked about,
Yes.
and you were concerned, the best thing you can do is a basement,
The basement, yes.
something below
underground.
level, if you can. That's not always
Yes.
possible.
Not always.
Here at the library, we can't, right?
Nope,
So
no
then
basement
you want to
yet.
find an interior
Yep.
room with no windows is your second
No
choice.
windows.
Yeah.
Yes, we don't want any glass in case it's really, really windy. So
Right,
that
in
we're
case the
really safe.
windows crack or
Yes,
something, yeah.
exactly.
So no windows in like the central part of whatever
Yes.
building you're in.
A closet,
Maybe
a
a bathroom, yeah, usually a bathroom
Yes.
is a good idea.
And it's got nice stable doorways and things like that so that you're really safe and protected.
Exactly. And Miss Nikki had asked, great question, in the US, we average about 1,000 tornadoes a year.
1,000?
That sounds like a lot, doesn't
That
it?
is a lot.
I was like 1,000, so.
Oh my goodness.
Of course, spread over the, all the states and stuff.
Now, is it true? Can we have? Because I thought that there was something called like funnels or tornadoes in water. Is there tornadoes in water?
I believe you're referring to like a cyclone?
Yes.
Yes.
Is
Or
that-
a water spout, I've heard of both.
Yes.
And that is the same idea. The funny thing with those is over water, there's no people, unless there's a
Right.
boat that witnesses it. So it's usually much less dangerous.
Right, and more water.
Yeah, and it's like, it somehow forms over the surface of water instead
Yes.
of land, because tornadoes are talking about land-based.
Right.
And yeah, it'll cause the water to.
So it's water currents as opposed to wind currents.
Yes.
Those gale force winds that we
Right.
talk about.
Well, and especially considering that, that brings up a good point too. We always in science like to have rating scales, right?
It's
Like,
true, 'cause
for
we need to
example.
measure things. It's very
Exactly,
important.
and which one is this in relation to that?
Yes, to compare.
So we have, for example, Fahrenheit and Celsius for temperature. So for tornadoes, we have I believe it's called the Fujita scale,
Fujita.
or
okay.
enhanced Fujita. So you'll hear instead a lot of just EF for
Okay.
enhanced Fujita. And that ranges on, as a tornado can be anywhere from a 0,
Mhm.
which is, less wind, and then the worst, the highest winds are 5s.
Wow.
So if you hear that there was an EF5 tornado, that means the winds were over 200 miles per hour.
Whoa.
200 miles per hour. A 0 is like 60 to 85 miles per hour, which is still a lot.
Yes.
If we get gusts here in Illinois at that, you would feel it. Like it would be
Yes.
hard to walk into the wind blowing at you.
Wow.
So that's just a 0, and then it goes all the way up to about 85 to 100, 110 to 135, 135 to 165.
So that could
166 to
maybe knock
200.
down a tree
Oh,
or some
for sure, do some
branches.
damage.
Yes.
I mean, I've seen branches down just from some of the lower winds.
Yes.
So, and then yeah, an over 200 miles per hour.
Yes. Now, do you think, like the Wizard of Oz says, It picks up Dorothy's whole house and brings it all the way to a whole new place. You think that could happen?
I mean, I don't know about a whole house. That seems a little like fiction, right? We talk
Okay.
about fiction, nonfiction all the time. However, in a house is usually anchored in some way to the ground.
Yes.
With
They call
plumbing,
that, yeah, or a
Foundation, there's different aspects, exactly. Whereas a car, right? And they will say if you're ever in a car and see one, get out of the car.
Yes.
And try to find like a low line,
Yes.
yes, get low to the ground.
Right,
Because
then you won't
cars,
get hit by things that are blowing in the wind.
exactly, and a car, yes, even though they're heavy, right?
Yes.
They're like 2,000 pounds. A car, many cars with a bad tornado have been known to be picked up and tossed like, hundreds of feet, so.
Well, Miss Jen, it was really windy. I thought I heard that a tornado might have touched down, so I think we're in our warning. Now,
Oh,
this isn't really real, friends. I'm just pretending so that we can do our experiment.
exactly.
So there is no real tornado. You don't have to worry.
Absolutely not, yeah. Otherwise, Miss Nikki and I would be like, pause, and we would be
Yeah.
going to find.
We would go find our secure space with no wind.
Exactly. But you can definitely do this type of experiment at home. So we've got our 2 liters, we talked about that.
Yeah.
Miss Nikki added some food coloring and glitter. We're thinking
Yes.
glitter is a good simulation for dirt. I
Like
don't know if you guys
debris
have
in
ever
the air.
seen photos of tornadoes. They're very black looking and brown, and that's
Yes.
dirt and debris, not just the rain cloud stuff, that's picked up and swirling around. And then I did, just for fun, we're doing bubbles too to see if we can, what we're trying to capture is that circular
Yes.
funnel
The
look.
funnel.
Exactly.
That's absolutely true. And another just interesting point, to go back to one of our previous themes, Miss Jen,
Yes.
it looks like our glitter is not sinking in our water.
It's floating right at the top.
So, glitter is lighter than water. Density.
Less density.
Less dense.
Yes, and glitter is very light, yes,
It is.
for sure.
And what is this thing? Is this some sort of pyroscope, telescope,
Right?
microscope,
So there was
kaleidoscope?
this dad
Okay.
who was interested in creating the effect of a tornado. He probably had swirled his glass one day or bottle, who
Sure.
knows. And he wanted the 2 because with just one it doesn't work as well. And he tried different things like duct tape and good old duct tape, right? Everyone tries duct tape. But he designed a plastic connector. I think it's believed it's called like a tornado tube if
A
you Google it.
tornado tube, okay.
Yeah. Miss Nikki's gonna get closer to show you guys. And basically it's got 2 threaded, it's one of our simple machines, Miss Nikki,
You're right. It does have the thread of a screw in there.
on both ends, right?
Yep, on both ends, and a thin little hole in the middle.
Yes.
And
And
I-
to let some air and water.
Yes,
go from
but
either.
not the whole thing. So it looks like it's gonna make the spout even smaller.
Yes, it'll really make it tiny from what it is.
Just go ahead and twist it.
Miss Nikki's gonna do that one.
Make sure it's nice and tight.
You only need 1 per 2
Yeah,
bottles.
you only need 1.
There we go.
Okay.
And then I had already connected mine.
I'm gonna go ahead and put this one on.
This might be where we maybe want the grown-ups to help or at least stabilize the bottle.
And these connectors are pretty inexpensive, Miss Jen. They're anywhere from about $2 to $3.
Yeah, so I love this overall experiment, not very expensive
Absolutely.
and really fun. So the thought is we're gonna start spinning it
Okay.
and then we'll flip it, almost like an hourglass.
Okay.
And we're hoping to see some of that
Got
funnel
it.
action. So,
Okay.
all right.
Would you like to go first? Would you like me to go first?
I'll go if that's okay.
Bubbles before debris.
Bubbles before glitter. All right, here we go. So I'm gonna start.
So we gotta get that simulated. Now it might take a couple because there's a lot of water in there.
Let's see if I can get it doing this.
Might be too much water in there. There we go.
Oh, there it goes. Do you guys see that?
Woo! There it goes. Inside here, you see the
I'll try to
funnel.
move it closer. You can see that funnel going.
There's that tornado. Whoosh!
It's slowing down a little bit because this one is filling up, but
Or a
there we go.
cyclone because it's water.
That's true. All right, go ahead, Miss Nikki.
All right, here we go. Make sure it's nice and tight. Don't want any spills. Don't want a glitter tornado on me.
No, we don't.
Okay. Stir, 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 stir,
Ooh,
stir.
it's really going.
Stir, stir, stir. Woo! And depending on how much
Once it gets going a little, and yeah,
Yep.
if we spin it a little more, we'll see that funnel action.
And I'm gonna bring it up close to you guys, so you can kind of see. Right now it's the bubbles, like what happened when we first turned it over in our first experiment.
Yeah, but as it gets going, if Miss Nikki spins it a little, I have a feeling this top part is gonna swirl around and make our funnel.
I think once enough of the water comes out, and I might have put it too tight. Oh, here it comes.
I can see it even at the bottom there.
Even at the bottom. Should we do it again?
We could try again. I'm a little concerned with all the bubbles I have,
Yes.
so I don't know if you wanna try yours again, Miss Nikki.
I think I'm gonna try to let a little bit of water out.
Oh, okay.
See what happens.
So that there's less in there?
So that there's
More
less.
movement to get that good
Yes.
force of motion, just dump it in here.
Yeah, let's take a peek.
It's always good to have your all-purpose base in there.
That's a very good point. So we're gonna pour it so that maybe it's about halfway full.
A
Little
little
less
bit
than
more.
that.
Then this is one of the fun parts Miss Nikki and I talk about of experimenting.
That's right. You try, you think about how this is part of the design process, right? You think about how you can improve it.
Yes, so I'm like, I like it, I'm seeing
Mhm.
it, but is there a way to make it more dramatic or more
Absolutely.
noticeable?
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Whoop.
Ooh, I definitely see the spinning. There it goes, Miss Nikki. I think you have the key there.
Whoa! I think that's about a 3
Yeah, that
on
looks
the
like
scale,
an
Miss
EF3
Jen.
to me.
About what, 100 mile
So
an hour almost?
EF3, we're talking 136 to
Woo!
165.
But what's interesting is that on the bottom of it, it almost just looks like rain or a fountain.
Yeah, it's just kind of diffusing.
Yes. And what's happening over there? Yours looks like it's almost bubbling back up again.
I think it is. I think the soap is forcing, like, it's got this whole wild thing going here.
Oh my goodness.
Because there's so many bubbles now, because I
Yes.
shook it,
Yes.
and it made more bubbles, so.
Well, let's see if I dump even more water out, what happens.
All right.
That was about half. What if we make it a little less than half?
And while we're waiting, in the comments, have you ever seen a tornado? Have you ever experienced a tornado?
As a family member
Has
or
a family,
friend.
yeah, have you gotten any film of it? And then if you try this, let us know what you think makes it successful. Maybe you do something besides glitter or besides food coloring.
Or maybe you find a different bottle or a different connector.
Yes, you can also use, I believe, 1 liters I've heard too,
Yes.
because the neck is the same
And
size.
what if you just take your water glass and you just turn it around like we did? So
That's
just a
true.
regular glass with an open top. Here we go. Start those gale
Sure,
force
sure.
winds.
Whoa.
Nope, not fast enough.
There it is, kind of.
So
I
it
don't know.
looks like that one's kind of bending a little, Miss Jen.
Yes, it'll do this kind of weird snake rotation thing.
But look at how the debris is sort of left in its path.
Yes. Which
So-
is true when the dust settles, if you will, or when the winds
Yes.
stop, you'll see where things have moved and what you've got.
Right, so maybe another chair that that was in somebody else's backyard is now in your backyard.
Suddenly the patio chair, yeah, is right by you.
Right.
So. Well, this
Don't leave
was,
any shoes outside because
None
they
of
might
that.
end up by your friend's house.
or your pool could get all twisted, or I
That's
mean, you
right.
never know. So.
That is right.
All right, guys. So I hope you enjoyed this.
Yes.
I hope you learned something. I really learned a lot about tornadoes.
I sure did too.
And as Miss Nikki did our shameless plug, come in and see us.
Please do.
Come see our exhibit.
Come visit Oz.
And yeah, come visit Oz and come visit us
yes.
in Oz and get ready for summer reading.
Yes, you're gonna sign up. You can use our paper logs or you can sign up on Beanstack beginning on May 16th.
Yes.
And how many minutes do we have to read this summer, Michelle?
I think for our older friends, was it 750, Miss Nikki?
Exactly right.
All right.
750 minutes, about 6.5 hours. That's piddly.
Over the whole summer?
Yeah.
And we've got some really fun prizes,
That's right.
some coupons. I don't want to give away
Oh,
too
yeah.
much.
No.
Yeah, you got to come and see it. Come and
That's
talk to us.
right.
And we're going to have some really great summer programs.
That's right. And if you sign up on Beanstack, just for signing up on Beanstack, you get a prize.
That's right.
You come in.
And in addition to summer reading, in addition to Oz, we have a community reads book.
What is a community reads book, Miss Jen?
So it's a book that our group has said, this is a super fun children's book that all of us love,
We sure
and we
do.
think you would love too.
Yep.
Available in English, in Spanish, in audiobook, on
Yep.
digital book, and it's called The Barnabas Project.
The Barnabas Project. And Barnabas sure is a silly, silly guy.
Oh my gosh, super cute.
And he, guys, just like us, he was born in a lab. Just like we're in right now. He was born in a science
A
lab.
test tube, yeah.
Yep.
And I feel like you'll see, but there's stories kind of similar to they're on a little trip, like they're on a little adventure, they meet some friends, have some stuff. So you gotta come in, we have plenty of copies.
Yep.
Come
We're
in and
going to
try
be
it.
reading it as well in English and Spanish.
That's right, and we are going to have some programs tied into it.
You got it.
Oh, and summer reading kickoff, Miss Nikki.
Oh my goodness, how could we forget?
Oh my gosh, June 3rd, coming very soon.
Third, you can come and do crafts. You can come and make art. You can come and see the balloon artist.
Yes.
You can come and do all sorts of fun things. And we will be here.
We will be.
To
Waiting
help
to see you guys.
everybody.
Yep, get signed up and
Sign up.
Try, do some of our fun stuff.
And you might even be able to make a tornado. There might be some
Ooh.
tornado making.
There might be. So thanks so much, you guys.
Thanks for joining
Take
us.
care.
We'll see you soon.
Bye.